we'll walk through how to navigate the platform and really walk you through as you get on board onto the platform, what that looks like as you get onboarded. So what we'll do is we'll start off with firstly signing into the platform. So hopefully everyone can see my screen okay. What we've got here is the entrance point to Basketball Connect. So this is the administration side. So for those that haven't received access yet, Alicia will make sure that she adds you in directly after this call. You will receive a welcome email, which is from Basketball Connect, and you will see on that welcome email, of course, your email along with the temporary password. Now, as you select to open up Basketball Connect, this will be the login page, and this is the login page where you'll put in your details to first log in. As part of that, you'd put in your email address and that temporary password that you receive. After you do that, you will receive on this screen, and see on this screen is a QR code. So essentially what this QR code is two-factor authentication. So for those that aren't familiar with it yet, it is just a second layer of security that sits within the platform because of all the sensitive details that do sit in the platform. As part of this process, for the very first time that you do sign in, you do need to authenticate. So essentially what that looks like is that you do need to download an authenticator app onto your phone. If you don't have one already on your phone, we do suggest downloading the Google Authenticator app from the App Store. So whether that's you're an Android user, an iPhone user, you would download a Authenticator app, and as suggested, that would be the Google Authenticator app. What you would do is with that app, you would scan the QR code that you see on the screen. So that QR code, you would hover over that QR code. As part of that process, that would then complete the authentication to your device. And what you would see on your device is a 6-digit code. That 6-digit code is a rotating code that you'll put in each time that you do enter into the platform and each time that you do log in. So you'd simply add in that authenticator code. As you do that, that will then put you into the system. And this would essentially be your home screen that you would see. So what we'll do now as part of step 2 is we will walk through how to navigate through the platform. So as part of navigating through the platform, this is your home screen. And essentially this is your home screen by where you would see a real snapshot in real time of all different actions and different areas within the platform that may require your actions. So within this home screen, you will see, first of all, a little actions box. So that's just any outstanding action items, such as it might be individuals working with children's check that might be expiring. It may also be that registrations have opened. So essentially, this is an action item box that allows you to very easily see any action items that may be outstanding or something that you do need to action. As well as on this home screen, you do have deregistrations. So that's really important as you guys start to build up to registrations. Our platform does offer deregistrations, and that's all automated in terms of with refunds as well. So any deregistration requests that do come to yourself as an organization and association to clear and approve, those will essentially populate there, in which that would indicate that you need to action those. Our platform has also got transfers, so any transfers that need to be completed, as well as any government vouchers, etc. So this is real just the home dashboard, which allows you to very easily see those action items. As part of that as well, you do get a snapshot overview of any revenue that's come through your platform. So our platform does offer a lot of revenue opportunities outside of registrations for you guys to use, but this will essentially give a snapshot of what that looks like, and you can filter between different periods, users, and filter between the different areas. So whether that's registration or shop purchases or tickets and other opportunities that do lie within the platform. What we'll go through thirdly is how to navigate into updating your organization details. So as you guys navigate through the platform, you will see in the top right-hand corner that there is a little home icon. And that little home icon will bring up each of the modules that do sit within our platform. So just to give you an overview of each of those modules, the home module is essentially what we're sitting on here at the moment, which gives you the overview of any action items, as well as allow you to add any venues. You've got the user module that sits within the platform. So that's a collective summary of all your users that sit within the platform, and allows you to very easily report on those users across the entire of your association. You've got registrations, so that's where you would set up your registrations for any programs, events, or competitions that you guys are running. We've got the teams module. That's essentially where you would complete anything to do with building of teams, submitting of teams, grading of teams. You've also got the fixture module, so that's where our algorithm sits within the platform, and that essentially allows you to go through the process of creating your fixtures using that algorithm. You've also got match day, which is all things to do with stats, live scoring, and anything to do with game day duties, such as borrowing players, submitting of team sheets, etc., applicable to the match day. We've also got the communications module, which allows you to communicate to your audience, and that's per role, per team, etc. So it allows you really to communicate to your audience, through a variety of means, whether it's push notifications with the app, as well as emails as well. We've got the shop and ticket items as mentioned, which is allowing you guys to set up any shop items or tickets, such as merchandise or to any events that you may have. We've also got the officials module as an option if you guys would like to do anything in terms of appointment of officials, if you're using a third party, etc. That's there to be offered. We've also got the finance module, which sits within our platform, which is all things to do with finance and all those transactions that may occur through the platform. And then we've got websites. So how you navigate is using the top right-hand corner and going to each of those modules depending on what duty or function that you'll be operating in. Within the user module is what we're going to be focusing on for you guys as you first go into the platform. Step one is jumping into your user module. And what you guys want to do is make sure all of your organization details are up to date. So what that looks like is once you've selected the user module, you'll then hover over administrators and you'll go into our organization. And our organization is essentially where your organization details sit. So you can see your organization's name here. You can also upload your organization logo. So as you guys first jump into the platform, really important to update and put in your organization logo that sits within the platform. So this will display publicly across all your ladders, your drawers, your statistics, and across the app as well. Along with this, you can see the basic details that do lie to your organization, such as your address details, phone number, email, ABN, as well as part of those details. Up the top, you do have the ability to see your contacts. So your contacts is any administrators that would sit within your organization. So really important that when you do first jump into the platform, that you do add any administrators that need access. So that would simply be adding in an administrator to your organization so that they would have access. And as part of that process, what you would do is you'd scroll to the bottom, you'd select add contact. As you select add contact, it will ask you to put in the user details that you're going to be adding. So you do need to put in their first name, their last name, their email address, and their phone number, and then give them a permission level of admin. And what admin allows them to do is have full access to the platform, just as you would do. So we do suggest giving them a permission level of admin. Once you've done that, you would select update, and then that would send them an email prompting them to sign in and giving them access to the area of the platform that we are in right now. You also have the ability to upload photos. These photos do display on the registration process and on the registration form, something that you can put into display during that registration form process. As well as that, you've got your T's and C's. So as part of that process from setting up your registrations, you do have the ability to put in your terms and conditions that your organization and association has. So that would simply be through the means of, if you have that file to upload or whether you have that link, directing them to your website or whatever it may be within the platform. We also do have integrations that sit within the platform. So for those that, may be using integrations such as Glory League or any third parties, this is essentially where you would activate those integrations within the platform. I'll just pause there, Alicia, just open to any questions that may have come through in the chat in the meantime.
No questions in the chat. If anyone does have any questions, just unmute and shoot now.
It's not a comment, Jalen, on how it's all going. I actually think it's really interesting. It looks great. I just wanted to say probably this information session is more of just a snapshot for us. So I don't know if any of us came prepared with maybe questions or anything of that nature. I think we're just trying to get a general overview. So that's why I don't have a question.
Yeah, and the more you see of it, the more questions you'll come up with anyway. Yeah.
It's you are aware of that for me, Alicia? Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Look, what we'll do is we'll continue on. And as mentioned there, look, we are going through a general overview of the platform. So this is, session 1. So this is essentially allowing you guys to jump into the platform, how to navigate the platform, how you complete your general setup, is what we're going through this evening. So once you've gone in and signed into the platform, you've gone into user, you've gone into administrators in our organization, and you've jumped in and updated all your organization details, added in any admins that may need to be added in outside yourself, updated any photos, T's and C's, and activated any integrations. What you want to do then is go through the process of making sure that you have onboarded yourself onto Stripe. Now, Stripe is the payment gateway that sits within the platform. Stripe is the processing of payments, etc., that is integrated directly into Basketball Connect. As part of that process, that does allow you guys to have a lot of flexibility that are offered within your payments, such as payment plans, afterpay, paying in full, credit card, direct debit. So there is a lot of forms and ways and methods of payment within the platform. So as part of that process, you do need to make sure that you do sign up to Stripe within Basketball Connect as one of the second items that you do after you've updated your organization details. In doing that process, how to complete that is that you would select in the top right-hand corner how we navigate the platform. So you would see each of the modules. And what you would need to do is select the finance module. So by selecting the finance module, this will take you into the area where all things are finance related. And from here, you will see that there's a tab that says Payment Gateway. As you select Payment Gateway, on the right-hand corner of the screen, you will see that there's 2 options that sit within the platform. And these are both to be completed. So the first one is connecting to Stripe in terms of where the money will be landing. So in the instance that you need to for example, you're connecting to Stripe. This is essentially how you would connect and make sure that you put in your bank account details, as well as that you would complete step 2 in setting up Stripe withdrawals. So you're setting up Stripe Connect and Stripe withdrawals within the platform. Once you've completed that, that will essentially ensure that across the platform for any transactions that do occur in terms of registrations, tickets, shops, there's a lot of options that sit within the platform for you guys to utilize. They will essentially, all integrate directly and, line to that bank account and those details that you guys have put in as part of that process. So that's step 2. After you go through the process of updating organization details, making sure that your bank account details are attached, step 3 is going through the process of making sure that all your clubs and your affiliates, what we call it within our platform, have been existing within the platform. Now, we have imported all of your clubs and organizations that do sit underneath yourselves as an association. But what I do suggest is just jumping in and making sure that all your affiliates are there in terms of the setup. So as part of that process, you would navigate back to the user module. And as you navigate to the user module, once again, hovering over administrators, you'll see that there's an option that says affiliates. As you select affiliates, you will see essentially a list of all your affiliates. Now, in the instance, that you guys have affiliates and clubs, you will see a running list of those organizations that would sit here within the platform as part of that process. From here, what you would do is obviously just make sure that all of your organizations and affiliates and clubs have been set up that are attached to you and sit underneath you guys as an association. It's part of that process. Within this particular area of the platform as well, if you do not see any affiliates that do sit within the platform that potentially may be missing, there is the option to add in the affiliate under the permission of Basketball New South Wales. So in the instance that you would like to add in an organisation, that's something in a setting that they can adjust to allow you to jump in and select the button that would sit here to add in an affiliate, or that's something that they can do themselves on behalf of you as part of that process. So really important to make sure that once you're in the platform that all your affiliates and your clubs have been set up that sit underneath yourselves. After you've completed that, the next step, so step 4, is going through the process of making sure that all your venues are sitting within the platform. So as part of, you guys going to be completing your registrations and doing all your fixtures within the platform, really important to make sure that your venues are set up within the platform as part of that process. So as part of doing that, you would select in the top right-hand corner, as part of that process, you would select the module that says home. And from there, you would select the option that would sit within the platform that says maintain. And on here, you would see venues and courts. So this is essentially exactly where you would see all of your venues and courts that would sit within the platform. So you can see here that we've got a couple of example venues that already sit within the platform. What we'll do is we'll go through the process of adding in a venue, which you will be required to do as part of your original setup. So to complete that step, you'll see that on the right-hand corner that there is an add venue option. And as you select add venue, you will then see that you have got some information in order to put in to set up that venue. First is obviously being the venue name. After that, it does prompt you to put in a short name. So the reason for the short name is the name that would appear in the instance in some areas, particularly within the app where there's really condensed information. It does display a short name, as a prompt, to where that particular, game or match is being held. As part of that process, you would put in that short name. And that short name does also, populate, to the long name. So never think that, if you're putting in a short name, that's only what they're going to be seeing. Essentially, in the app, there is an area within the app that they see that short name. And if they select that short name, it does bring up the full name.
Approximately
You
how
also
many
need to put in the
characters would
venue.
you be looking at for the short name, just for info?
Yeah, so within the short name here, it's limited to 4 at the moment.
Oh, okay.
In terms of the 4 characters, yeah. Within venue search, as you jump into venue search, it does you need to put in the address details of that particular venue. So as you select that venue, that's attached to Google Maps, so you can put in that search for that venue. And then as part of that, you do have to put in the contact details of the venue. So that would be the contact details that are attached to the venue. Now, in the instance that you do have to attach any affiliates to that venue, so that may be, for example, this is the the home venue for particular affiliates, so particular clubs, that are affiliated to. You would simply select link to a home affiliate, and as part of that process, you would see a drop down of each of your affiliates, and that allows you to select which affiliate that they may be attached to as part of that is their home venue. If it's a centralized venue, that's not necessary, but you do have the ability to link certain clubs to certain venues as part of who they are affiliated to understand who is home, who is away in the instance that's required. More importantly, within this area, you do need to put in the game days. So this is essentially spelling out from your venue the availability of the venue. So in the instance of your venue, you would specify which days that venue are available for fixturing and for the purpose of the management of that venue. So really important to make sure that you're putting in the correct venue availability, because this does draw upon your fixtures. So when you're drawing on your fixtures for your game days and your courts, it does draw upon the availability that you have set within the particular venue. So what you would do is you would select the days that venue is available. So for example, we're just going to keep it simple and we're going to do a Saturday and a Sunday. If your venue is available for all days of the week, you would specify each of those days of the week, and you'd put in the times of those venues as well. Once you put in those details, you then do need to put in your court. So that's the same process and very similar process to adding in the game days, but you're putting in each of the courts that your particular venue has to offer. So you can see here that there's a little add court option. As you select add court, you then see that this is court 1, for example, and we can select multiple courts. So we're going to go through the process of adding in a couple of courts. You would then put in the court name as part of that process, and then you also are required to put in the longitude and the latitude of that particular court. Now, really important why this needs to happen is because all those that are going to be using the app for match day scenarios, so to view exactly where they're playing and what time they're playing, it does directly integrate into Google Maps. So in the instance, that they're selecting that venue through the app, it will directly take them to that venue in their their maps within their phone, using the longitude and the latitude that's put particularly against that court in the venue. So you can see here that you'd put in that longitude and the latitude. Now, for those that aren't familiar with how to identify or to capture the longitude and the latitude of that particular venue, you do see throughout our platform some little question marks that sit there, and they're simply just to assist you as part of that process. So as you hover over that, you can see that there's some prompts that will take you through instructions of how to access and obtain the latitude and the longitude. As part of this as well, you do see that there is an option to override the venue time slots. So simply what this means is that, for example, if you have a venue that has 3 courts in like this instance, you may have certain days, and you may have certain start times and end times by where only this court is available between those parameters. So this essentially allows you, when setting up your venue, to really micro down on the availability of your court within that particular venue. So essentially what that would look like is that if you were wanting to override, for example, the general Saturday and the Sunday times that we put up the top here, you would simply go, on Saturdays, court A is only available actually between 9 and midday, because there's some other activities that occur after midday. So this allows you to override the general time that we put in up top here. And that is the same process for your other courts as well. So in the instance that you do need to override any changes, you simply need to select override venue and time slots, and just make sure that you do specify those particular days and times that that particular court is available or not available. As we scroll to the bottom, the last option that you will see within the screen is the unavailability dates. So essentially what this looks like is for the purpose of any blockout dates for when you're completing your fixturing. So if you know that your venue, for example, may be closed, or for whatever reason that there are blockout dates that are occurring for that venue, it does allow you to put in those blockout dates. And as part of that, you'd select that date, and you can set the from and to date. So it may be a particular day, or maybe a period such as a week, or whatever it may be. And as part of that process, you would put in those dates, and you can actually specify the blockout for those by court, or you can do all courts that sit on that particular venue. So you've got the flexibility to either choose all courts, or you can also select particular courts that may be unavailable for whatever reason that may be that has come up. I'll just pause there, Alicia, just conscious that there may be some questions, particularly around venues or anything that we've been through so far.
I actually do have a question. So we've got training courts that run one way and FIBA courts that run kind of across them as they're mapped out. So would we add all of our training courts and then our FIBA courts additionally?
Yeah, so those courts, just so I understand it, so you've got a particular venue, and then within those courts, they are, for example, between a certain time they're used for matches and then also training. Is that the case?
Yeah, so we have 6 training courts that run horizontally, and then 4 vertical FIBA courts painted over the top.
Yeah, got it. So look, there's 2 ways. I guess it comes down from a preference standpoint, how you would like to set up those particular courts. You could structure it in the way that essentially you would have court A, B, C, etc. of what we've done here. Alternatively, what you could do is you would put in court A, which is your playing court, and then, for example, you would specify your other courts which are running the other way. So up to you. I mean, that's something that can be worked through, but really just preference, how would you like to set up those venues from your side? So you can create them as separate courts, or you could keep them as one.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So once you've set up those courts from your side, really important, obviously, just to make sure all the details are correct from what you've been through. Now, you do have the ability to jump back in and make any changes if you're required to do so. So in the instance, that obviously the venue's going to change availability, which quite often does happen, you do have the ability to jump back in and go through the process of making sure that all these details are up to date, because really important to make sure that they are, because this is where all your fixtures will be directly drawn from. So once you've added in that venue, you will see that within the venue list that now that exists within there, and you can see on the right hand side that you have the ability to jump in and edit that venue. So everything that we've just been through, you've got the ability to jump back in and edit that at any stage as part of that process. What we'll also go through, just to wrap up this session, is really just to go through the user module to begin with. So we've already jumped into the user module, but just going to jump in and quickly run over, essentially how you would view, any users that sit in your platform as you guys start to, begin registrations and a formal setup very shortly. So as you jump into the user module, this is essentially a collective area in real time where you'd see all your users that are attached to your organization. And what that would look like is all users that sit across the platform. That could be spectators, that could be players, that could be managers, that could be coaches, that could be administrators. So it does allow you to see the full breadth of all the roles that are affiliated, and allows you to see each of those roles that may be attached to that particular profile. So you may, have a lot of instances, where people hold multiple roles within your organization, and this is a really good way to report on that, as well as see each of those roles and where they're linked. So you can see up the top here that you do have the ability to, filter. You've got all these filtering options at your demand. You can then see underneath here that there's a couple little summary options. Now, in your instance, you will see that there's number of registered users. Number of registered users is simply all those users that have registered in terms of completing a registration to your organization or an organization that sits underneath you. You then got the number of users, which will always be higher, because that's just the collective number of users that sit within the platform, and not all of them may be registered. You may have some that are spectators that are simply following the league or following the particular competition that you guys are running. You can then see on the right hand side that you've got the ability to see spectators, and this is simply a count of spectators that have been following your competition or a particular team, and they have jumped into the app. Now, in the instance that they haven't created an account, really cool that you can start to collect the data from those spectators and start to engage and communicate with those spectators. Now, they may have not put in their details, but it does allow you to communicate with those spectators that have downloaded the app, jumped in there, and you may be following a team. You may not know who they are, but you've got the opportunity to communicate with them, etc. Within here, you'd obviously see each of those user profiles, depending on what selections that you've done from a filtering standpoint. This is essentially where you would jump in to access anyone's user profile. This does tie in across the platform, so whether you're accessing the user profile from different areas, it does allow you to jump into that user profile, and from there you can essentially see a very clear summary of that particular user. It does allow you to see any activity that relates to that user. So that's essentially if they're a manager, if they're a coach, that will show you their activity that sits within their profile. Alongside that, you will see that they've got statistics. So that will essentially allow you to see a snapshot of their statistics, applicable to, their competitions, their programs, and part of that as well, it will break down a match log of each of the matches that they've competed in. You've got personal details, so that's just the summary of their details within the platform. You've also got the option here, and this is really important as they start to register through the platform, and you've got that parent-child linkage. This is essentially where you can see the parent and the children that are linked to each of the accounts, as well as that emergency contact details and any other information that may be captured during the registration process. You've then got the registration tab that sits within the profile. So this will essentially allow you to view the registrations that are applicable to that user that they've made, and very easily allow you to see their memberships, their expiry date as part of that process, and the registration status that individual is holding. You can also jump in and see their history. So this is essentially a history of where they've played, as well as those divisions and those grades, as well as the position that their teams have finished in the past. You've also got a snapshot of any incidents that are reported for that particular individual. So that may be incidents that have been reported, by particular roles within the platform relating to match day scenarios, as well as the visibility of any suspensions that may occur to that particular individual as well. And this, lastly, you've also got the ability to jump in and see any purchases. So that's essentially, any touch points that they've made across the platform. That may be some ticket purchases or maybe some shop purchases. That is essentially a summary view of any purchases that made, particularly, during their process of when accessing the platform. So I'll just pause there, Alicia, and just open up the floor for any questions that may have come through in that time.
Yeah, there's no questions
Awesome.
in the chat. So
I guess I'll take
if anyone
silence.
else has any, then
Awesome. All right. Well, that's all that we wanted to go through tonight. We really wanted to just keep it very simple in terms of making sure that, firstly, you guys, have access to the platform. If you have not received access yet, Alicia will add you in, within, directly after this session, if not early tomorrow morning. And from there, really important that you do jump into the platform and familiarize yourself with the items that we've been through this evening as part of that process. So making sure that you do jump into the platform, making sure that your organization details are up to date, making sure that you've added in any administrators that also need access, as well as that making sure that your venues are set up and making sure that all your organizations are set up as part of that process. Really important as well, noting within the platform, from a help and supports perspective, we do have directly within the platform the help and support integrated within the top right-hand corner. So in the top right-hand corner, if you do select your icon, you will see that there is an option here that says help and support. As you select help and support, this will take you directly into our help and support center, which will break down each of the areas within our platform, particularly module by module. So some of these items we have been through this evening, but this is a really good support material in terms of as you guys begin to onboard and familiarize yourself with the platform, to use that as a point of contact when jumping into the platform and you wanting to learn or start to use each of the modules. It does provide guides as part of that process as you go through it. Within the platform as well, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner that there is a little pop-up. Now, this little pop-up that sits within the platform is essentially the ticketing system that sits within the platform. You can see here that my details have automatically populated here. And as part of that process, you can see that you've got the ability to submit a support ticket. So essentially, this allows you to submit a support ticket that may be a query that you have as you're going through the platform. As part of that process, you do submit the support ticket that sits within the platform using the icon in the bottom right-hand corner. This is just available to administrators. So obviously we're on the administrator access side at the moment, and that's where you essentially see that pop-up in that instance where you've got the ability to put in a support ticket. In terms of the capturing of your details, it's obviously got your email there automatically, and as part of any responses that you will receive, they will be responded back to your email as part of that process. All right, happy to end it there, Alicia. Was there anything further from your end that you wanted to go through? Probably worth noting as well that, as you guys start to get on board onto the platform, you will have a lot of questions, which is completely expected. But as mentioned before, just wanted to use this session this evening to make sure you guys have access and walk through each of the modules and how you navigate. As well as that, just give you a really basic rundown, to where you need to go to complete your original setup. In the coming weeks, what we will do is we will set up some further sessions specifically to getting you guys started from a registration standpoint. So pending your competitions and the timelines from your competition standpoint, we'll work with Basketball New South Wales and yourselves to make sure that you safely transition onto the platform in line with, your timelines that sit within your side. And as part of that process, we will firstly, assist you in the process of going through and setting up your registrations, and do a session very similar to what we've done this evening, but specifically focusing on registrations and the fixturing side of things.
Cool. And I just wanted to say as well, so that ticketing section in the right hand corner, that will essentially take over from our current ticketing system for Zendesk that we use. That's the one that's on the TBN Facebook page, the banner image, the link that you go to submit support tickets. So this will take over from that. Anything through game day will still go through Zendesk until we're no longer using game day, but anything to do with Basketball Connect would go through here.
Awesome. All right, well, if there's no further questions or anything like that, obviously look out for making sure that you've got your login access, and look out for the next session that we'll be going through. Happy to stay on the call, for anyone that has any further questions or anything like that. But, once again, thank you so much for your time this evening, and really look forward to working with all of you.